We are live. We are back. Friday Night Lights. First time in what feels like forever. Tournament of Champions edition. If you've ever watched Jeopardy here in the States, this will be 20 times better than that. Guaranteed, because I do not have a molestache like Alex Trebek. And the guests that we have are twice as entertaining. So, with that being said, this is the West Ham Game Show. These guys are going to compete for likes. I have a bunch of questions I'm going to ask them. They're going to give me their best answers. And if they give me good answers, they'll be getting a thumb. So, person with the most thumbs will win. With that, we'll go around the room and introduce ourselves. Let's start with my counterpart, my co-host, my partner in crime, my counting colonial cousin, Wally. What's going on, man? How are you? Where are you? What are you drinking?
Oh, I'm good. I'm up in King of Prussia, pretty close to you, and I am drinking water. I've been in Mardi Gras for a month in New Orleans, and just need to lay off the alcohol for a while. So back to the water.
I don't blame you, Wally. Of all the drinks I would have predicted, I don't think it would have been that one. You've had some pretty interesting ones over the past few months.
I've had some pretty interesting ones over the last month too.
Yeah, I bet you did, and I bet your head and probably your wallet is thanking you for drinking a little H2O. So I'm going to kick you back to the back room, and then we'll get into our guest. Wally's going to keep score for us tonight, and all nights. So tonight we have former winners: Adam Frankel, Irish Tommy, Dave Sperry. Dave, who are you? Where are you? How can we reach you on social media? What are you drinking?
All right, I'm Dave Sperry. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. You can reach me at the St. Louis Hammers on Twitter, and I'm drinking some Magners tonight. Figured with the Irish theme.
Can't go wrong with a little bit of cider. Adam Frankel, you look like you're not paying attention. Who are you? Where are you? What are you drinking? How do we reach you?
I'm trying to tweet a link to this so that people will people will know and come and watch. So sorry, my name's Adam Frankel. I'm a co-host on the West Ham is Why We Drink podcast. I am drinking, I think what I drank last time. I wanted to try and keep the streak going. A little bit of Woodford Reserve mixed with the Serrano with a little bit of Coke Zero. I call it a J Detto and Coke.
I think the rest of us would call it a travesty. Irish Tommy, who are you? Where are you? How do we reach you? And what are you drinking?
I'm Irish Tommy. You can reach me on Twitter. It's at Tomster36. And I'm being very boring, and I'm drinking water from a cup, not even a glass. So I'm all over the place. But then my excuse is that it's, like 20 to 2 in the AM over here. So I'm just happy to be awake, frankly.
It's all good. Maybe I'll kick you into the back room as well, and you can have a pint of water with Wally back there. Everybody will have a good old time. But with that, we'll get right into it with the questions. Obviously, everybody was pretty elated. Well, maybe not elated, but we were feeling pretty good after that Liverpool match. West Ham put on a bit more of a performance than we've seen in quite some time. So let's start with a little positive action here. What was the best takeaway from the Liverpool match, and why? Tommy, I'll start with you.
Okay, for me, the best takeaway was actually just the positivity that David Moyes showed in his team selection and formation. The City game was depressing and just in every way. It was just frankly disgraceful that he would set up like that. And clearly, he was not going to make any effort to even attempt to get something from the game. And the fear was that he was going to set up exactly the same way against Liverpool. And it would be another just completely passive performance. But when we saw the team line up, I think we were all very pleasantly surprised. It was much more positive than we thought it would be. He went with the flat back four. He got some bodies in midfield, and the team went out and kind of played the way the setup suggested they would. That they would go out, have a go, get at Liverpool, try and get forward, try and score some goals, and just play with some positivity. So it was a complete turnaround from the City game, and for me, that was the most positive thing about that Liverpool game.
Yeah, I think well, unfortunately we didn't get the points, but we got the performance that we've been so definitely wanting for a long time. So I think the positivity makes made a lot of difference there. Dave, what say you? What was the best takeaway from the Liverpool match?
The biggest thing for me was seeing Fornals back in and coming in. He was on the bench, and he came in, and we didn't bring in Lanzini, which to me was a big thing. I mean, Fornals has been a star, shining star here, and lately here, I don't know why we haven't been playing him, but he came in and he showed against the big boys that he can score and he can run around and bring a spark to this team. So to me, that was the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's no secret I'm a Fornals lover, I've got to say. The kid seems to at least get in the right places. He's got 4 or 5 goals, 4 or 5 assists. He's doing much better than Lanzini. So I was happy personally to see him. And like you said, I think not only seeing him, but seeing Moyes not select Lanzini, who I believe was also on the bench at the same time, was just as much of a good point. Adam.
Well, I think very good answers. It's always harder to go third. So trying not to rehash anything. But I think for me, one of the biggest takeaways was the performance of Diop and Ogbonna. Because, lately our defense has been a total shambles. I mean, as early as this month, both, you remember the Brighton game? It was shocking all around. That second goal they scored when Ogbonna and Diop, the ball goes in the middle and they both look at each other and they're like, and then he runs in and the Brighton lad runs in and scores. Same again, their third goal when Glenn Murray maybe handballed it. Once again, that was Diop letting his man go. And so it looks like, I think some of that comes from the fact that Pellegrini kept rotating. He kept putting Balbuena in. It was never the same. And obviously it helps Fabianski being back. But I think that for me, my biggest takeaway is the fact that they were solid. And I don't know if you know this, to show I've done a bit of research. Only one team in the Premier League, apart from West Ham, has scored more than 1 goal against Liverpool this season. The only other team to score 2 goals was Everton, and they lost 5-2. And that's a derby. So apart from that, the other big takeaway is that no one else in the Premier League can score against Liverpool. There's a reason for that. They've got one of the best defenders in the world in Van Dijk. And we should, not only were we solid at the back, despite letting in 3 goals, that sounds crazy to say, but we were, going forwards, we put 2 goals past the best defense probably in the world.
So, yeah, that's a good point. I gave you a thumb for the stat, especially. We like to hard-hitting facts on this show are always well appreciated. So is this the sign of something to come, maybe? I'll give you first dibs on this one, Adam. So is this something that's going to maintain? Is our defense now going to be all right? What do we have to do in the next few games to be successful?
Well, I think, my biggest concern, we're West Ham fans, right? So if you're not realistic by now, and then you've not been a West Ham fan for long enough. One of our catchphrases that I've heard said myself so many times after watching us narrowly lose or draw against a top team is now if we can play like this next week against so-and-so, we're going to crush it. The biggest problem is, how many times have you heard and said that? There's a reason it's a catchphrase, because we never bloody do it. Too often we play up to opponents better than us and then relax against the teams that are on the same level or lower. That being said, I hope that we get some confidence going in from that, because there is a lot of positives to take from it. And I think that if we start, I hope it doesn't change anything. Let's start the same team. One thing that I really would like, obviously we can't play Souček, which is a massive blow, just to put that out there as well. But the only other thing that I would like to see Moyes do is bring some people on a bit sooner. Like Jared Bowen, I would really like him to start instead of Snodgrass or Anderson. I cannot understand why we pay all of that money for a player who's obviously been brought in to play in the position that Snodgrass plays, or maybe on the other side of Anderson. We put all that money on a player to not even play the guy. And to me, I asked myself the question, if we've bought him, then use him. Otherwise, what was even the point? And I love Snodgrass, but even so, like, I really think that we should, if we don't start him, when we brought off like Anderson at halftime, I think Bowen should have come on.
So I like your point about being a bit more decisive with the subs. I think maybe I didn't send you any questions on Bowen, but Moyes said something today that I think I might want to get into a little bit later. So I'll revisit that. Tommy, what do we have to do in the next few games to be successful?
Well, the first thing we have to do is make sure we stick with the flat back four and don't revert to this reduced centre backs with two wing backs system. It doesn't work. It's been proven not to, and I think the fan base as a whole will just be apoplectic if we see that against Southampton, or frankly in any game this season. But I suspect we will see it, probably away from home against some opponents. But I pray that we don't. We'll definitely play better with flat back four. Also, it helps that Masuaku isn't on the pitch, as he almost inevitably is when we play with wing backs. I hope he just continues with this more attacking philosophy that we saw against Liverpool. Listen, if we can get at Liverpool like that and score twice and cause them the problems that we did, we can beat quite a few of the teams that we have left to play. So that's the big thing for me, is just the philosophy needs to remain that we saw against Liverpool and not to revert back to his negativity. I worry that he'll do it, but let's hope he doesn't. Because another thing I want to see is it's already been touched on by Adam. He has got to play Bowen. I mean, we saw in the little cameo he had against Liverpool just how clever his runs are. You know, he made a beautiful run in behind, got played in by Antonio, and was very unlucky not to score. You know, against a lesser goalkeeper, he would have netted for us, I think, in that game.
Or a smaller net.
Yeah, exactly. So I definitely would like to see more of Bowen, albeit I'm worried about the kind of noises that Moyes is making as regards to Bowen, which make no sense whatsoever to me. This notion that he's not ready, or he's just come up from the Championship, is absolutely rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Fornells came from a league that probably isn't any better than the Championship, and it's in a foreign country, and he comes over and he just chucks him straight in, and then to say that Bowen's not ready, and he keeps referring to him as like he's a child or something. Bowen's 22 or 23 years old. He's been playing long enough in England. He's a grown man. Put him in. He showed against Liverpool. If he can come on and play like that against Liverpool, he showed he's not scared.
Yeah,
he's not daunted by playing in the Premier League. So just put him in there and leave him there, and he'll score goals for us. I have no doubt.
Yeah, he definitely he showed some good glimpses, didn't he? Dave, what do you think? What do we have to do in the next few games?
One of the things I do want to see is two up top. So we have maybe we bring in Haller and try to get him going with either Antonio or maybe even Anderson, putting him up top and trying to get some more goals. I like the press and keeps that attacking feel that we had in that Liverpool game. And I would really like to see that more often from this team. Unfortunately, both these guys have stole my thunder about everything else. But, yeah, that's what I would do is try to press more, And I'd really like to see two up top, get Haller and Antonio going.
Dave, they took about half an hour to get to their answers. So take all the time that you want, mate. You want any comments on Bowen while we're here? The other two.
No. See that? Oh, man. I would love to see Bowen on the field, and maybe this is there was a talk on one of the podcasts about how it'd be nice to see Bowen instead of Anderson. Anderson played a little wonky for me, but maybe it's just because he was coming off injury, and I think the way Bowen had that beautiful run to nearly nick that goal. I want to see him out there more. Like Tommy said, we paid all this money for him, and why aren't we playing him? I want to see more of him, and I think he's going to start him this on Saturday. I think that would be it'd be great for him to be at home with everyone there, giving him positive feedback, and he could go out against a mid-table team. I mean, he did it against Liverpool with that little bit of run.
So let's get into that. You guys are chomping at the bit to talk Bowen here. So let me throw this one out there. Moyes had some comments today. It was somewhere along the lines of, if you're looking for a player that we got off at Hull City to save our season, then you're looking in the wrong place. I'm paraphrasing. It's something along those lines. Justified? Correct? Bullshit?
Not absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
Absolute nonsense. Where he came from is irrelevant. Who cares where he came from? Doesn't matter. I mean, we've seen players come from all kinds of places. Can you imagine when Leicester kind of paid roughly the same for James Maddison that we paid for Bowen, and saying, well, we only came from Norwich, so maybe we shouldn't play him just yet. And absolute nonsense. And frankly, I don't think anyone thinks otherwise, really. It just he comes out with these bizarre statements every once in a while. I think he's trying to justify why he's not playing somebody, and he's looking just for something to give us the press or whatever, and comes up with some absolute rubbish. And I'm afraid this was one of it. Nobody buys that for a second.
Hey, what do you think? Nonsense?
Oh, it's definitely nonsense. I mean, we played an academy player. I can't say his name. Nick is something or other.
And Gakia.
Adam can't say his name either.
Yeah. I mean, he's an academy player playing against Liverpool, and but we've got to work this guy in because he was from the championship. That's bullshit. Come on, give me that's BS. We paid too much money for this guy to sit on the bench, right? I mean, it's just I agree with Tommy 100%. Just ridiculous.
Adam, why is he saying that?
Well, the crazy part about it that I guess he forgets, Hull City are my second team. I worked for him for a while. I've got some links up there still. And people don't remember that this kid played in the Premier League already for Hull City. When Hull City were in the Premier League, he made 7 appearances. Before that, he was in their academy working his way up. He signed as a youth from Hereford, came to Hull City. He was there for a couple of years, didn't play, was amazing in the academy. I mean, I've had people in Hull telling me about him for a long time. And I got a lot of messages when he came to us with people who are gutted. But the reality is that we played for a lot of money for a player that has Premier League experience. He's bossed it in the Championship. And not only that, one of the things that I really like about him, and a reason I wanted him there, is his reputation in Hull. Last season, he was voted the Fans Player of the Year and the Players Player of the Year. And players that get voted that are for a reason. These are guys who you want around the club. These are guys you want on the pitch. They're leaders. They're people but you can't lead if you're sitting on the bench watching a game and then coming on for 10 minutes. You also can't lead when your manager is coming out and talking shit in the press like this, which is, I just don't understand. Not only is it ridiculous, but it really can't serve a purpose. It's unnecessary. For a guy who needs to work hard to get fans on his side, he probably needs to hire some PR person to give him some better advice.
Well, he shouldn't be using the West Ham PR people because they can't even control the message.
That's why I said he needs to hire someone.
Well, what I would say, it seems a little bit ridiculous. What I think it possibly is he's managing expectations, right? He doesn't want to throw Bowen out to the lambs like a lamb out to slaughter. If things don't go well for him, he doesn't want West Ham fans to turn on him and expect too much. But you could just keep your mouth shut. That's the one thing that a lot of PR people never tell you is just keep your mouth shut every now and again. You don't have to comment on everything. So that's my 2 cents.
If he's 17, you can understand that attitude. But he hasn't come out in the press and defended Ngakia and said, well, here's a kid who's, only just starting. So that doesn't even vibe. That argument to me doesn't even work, because if that is his attitude, there are players younger with less experience who he should be sticking up for. Not talking that way about a brand new signing who has spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, he's 22, 23 and has played loads of football already in the Championship, which is a very tough... You better be a man if you're playing in the Championship, I'll tell you that. Because you grow up fast in there. This is a grown man, who's chomping at the bit to get his West Ham career started. We saw the positivity and how lively he was when he came on against Liverpool. The guy wants to play. He's ready to play. Get him in the team.
I'm with you. I mean, our best player at the minute came from the Championship, Antonio. So I got no qualms about what the kind of talent we can get out of there. Wally, I love bringing you back in and not telling you when I'm going to do it because you always get this startled look on your face that you're back on camera. But we're about halfway through, so give us the scores on the doors.
All right, here we go. We have Dave with 4 likes, and then Adam with 7, and Tommy in the lead with 8.
Told you, boys backstage, it was all rigged. Tommy's coming in.
Tommy's
coming in hard and strong.
Did you get it?
Your beats are on the way, Wally.
Great.
Wally, keep counting. Right, let's get back into it again. So through halftime and into the second half of the show, our injury list, as you know, is always a nightmare. So which West Ham player do you think would be the most likely to contract coronavirus and why? Dave, let's start with you.
Well, I'm going to tell you who it isn't. It's not going to be Roberto because he cannot catch a thing.
That was my joke! Damn it!
We
all thought it.
Darwin for that one from the St. Louis Hammers. He's the one who.
We all thought it. Every one of us thought
it. Dave, double thumbs up for that, just because you pissed them off so much. Well done. Right, let's put everybody else on the spot now that your answer's gone. Tommy.
I'll have you know that was a non-answer. He said who wouldn't get it.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah. We're not with Wayne. We're not with Wayne.
Okay, it's going to be Ogbonna, isn't it? He's Italian. So, any break and play, him and his wife are trotting back off to Italy, visiting the family, doing a bit of shopping. He's going to come back and give it to the whole team. Our entire team is going to be quarantined for the rest of the season. We won't pick up another single point, and that's us in the Championship. Thanks, Ogbonna.
Adam.
Well, first of all, I think Yarmolenko's already had it. That's why no one's heard anything about him for 2 months. He's been in quarantine. But I mean, I'm actually quite surprised because there's another obvious answer. If there's an illness or injury to be had, Jack Wilshere is the one that's going to have it.
Good shout.
Jack Wilshere had it before anyone in China, I bet.
Yeah, he's already had it.
Patient 0.
They should check if Jack Wilshere has been to China in the last few months.
I hope Arnautovic got it. I mean, sorry.
I can imagine Spurs rocking up to the London Stadium and possibly their whole team contracting it, similar to the Lasagna Gate incident. And that would probably be about the only thing that could top that. But anyway, next question. Moyes in or Moyes out? Give me your best reason for your view. Who hasn't gone first in a while? Adam.
I am Moyes in, but it's mainly because I'm a loyalist. I love the West Ham history. When I was first really getting into West Ham, Harry Redknapp was the manager and the 8th manager of the club in nearly 100 years. And so for me, we've only had 17 people who are managers. David Moyes obviously twice, so 18, but 17 different people have been manager of West Ham. And I like that. I love that statistic. What I also like is stability in a club. I have a company, and if you're working in an organization and someone else comes in at the top, changes take a while. There are things that are deep-rooted in that organization that have been there for a long time, and to change any of those things is going to take time. Now, you bring a manager in, he's going to make changes, but you can't just change it like that. And you also can't change a culture like that. And so if we ever want to change West Ham and bring us a group of lads that can really come together and perform, I think we just need a manager who's going to be there for a lot of time. So for me, I'm all about keeping with him until the rich billionaire owners come in, and then they can hire someone who's won some stuff.
I like that, Adam. I feel like that was always a point of pride for us, wasn't it? That we had very few managers in such a long amount of time. And whether it be the Premier League or whatever else has happened over the last 20 years, it just seems to have completely shot that out of the water. Tommy.
Moyes out, and the sooner the better, frankly. He took charge of his first game on New Year's Day. Now, he got a win in his opener. Couldn't have asked for more, really, a 4-0 win at home. And a lot of people were kind of crowing about it at the time, whereas I was urging a lot of caution because, Bournemouth were, frankly, the worst team I'd seen us play in a long, long time. And I wasn't ready to declare him the king quite yet. And frankly, we haven't won a game since. And not only have we not won a game since, but we've thrown away the games as well. And because of his formations, because of his lineups, because of his tactics, because of his substitutions, he's been very, very poor. And he also, remember, does have the lowest win percentage of any West Ham manager. So, and despite the more encouraging performance against Liverpool, we still lost that game. He still only won one game as manager, and overall we've looked very poor in games. And he's just made so many poor decisions, which I alluded to already. I don't have any faith in him that he can keep us up. So I'm really worried that Moyes will take us down, regardless of decent enough performance against Liverpool. And so I'm still worried that he'll revert to type. That with there's talk that Masuaku might be available again. So I'm thinking, Christ, here we go. If he goes 5 at the back again, and it wouldn't surprise me if he did. So I'm still not convinced by him at all. I'm still really of the opinion that he will likely get us relegated. So I think he should be sacked, frankly.
Dave, you're the tiebreaker. In or out, and why?
I'm going to say out. Just because it seems like he doesn't even know what his best formation is. He doesn't know what players to put in. It seems like it's kind of a mess, in my opinion. He's, as much as I would like to see him do well, obviously, as a fan, he's just the substitutions to me just drive me insane. And I just think that he's not the right guy for us to take us to the next level, which whatever the hell that is at this point. He's just not the guy to do it. Let's be honest. I think he got damaged after he went to become Sir Alex's replacement, and he's been bad ever since. Right? Yeah. So that's just I don't see him taking us anywhere, and he's out. He's got to go out.
Yeah, his win percentage since he took over at United is horrific.
Yep.
It's an odd thing. Some managers always seem so perfect for certain teams. David Moyes was always perfect as an Everton manager.
Yeah.
And since he moved from there, it just hasn't seemed to really work out. Now, West Ham is very much, in my opinion, the Everton of the South. We're very similar. We're play little brother to a lot of teams in the same city. We resources wise, we're probably about the same, and kind of history and winning percentage over time, we're probably about that level. So at first, I was quite encouraged by him. At least the first time he came around, I thought he probably should have been given the job. But I was excited when Pellegrini got the call. But I don't know.
I wasn't a fan the first time around either. To be honest, I did not want his contract renewed. I haven't changed my mind about him. I've seen nothing that would change my mind about David Moyes.
I don't know if I could say I was a fan. I think he at least earned the opportunity to start.
I think we stayed up that. I thought we stayed up that time because there were 3 teams that were worse than us.
Well, hopefully we can do that this time too.
Yeah, I hope
we'll
so.
see. Yeah. But right, so final questions of the night, and we're going to go to Dave first on this one.
Okay.
Paddy's Day is fast approaching. Who is the best Irishman to ever wear West Ham colours?
Well, one of the St. Louis Hammers said Ray, Hoyton.
Houghton.
He played from. He started out. He started out in West Ham in '79. Played to '82. Had one goal, but he did have a goal against England in the Euros in. I want to say 82. I think it was. But,
Ray Houghton. That's not the same Ray Houghton. Well, if it is, then his best goal was in the 1-0 win over Italy in the '94 World Cup.
Okay, that may be. Actually, you know what? That may be.
And a fantastic roly-poly celebrations of Boo as well. Sorry, Dave. Keep going.
But to be honest, I'm going to say that it's Mark Noble. Knowing that his family is from Cork, and he's had the most Premier League appearances for West Ham. He's from the academy. Living in the East End. He's got to be the number one.
I like what you did there, Dave. Yep. I like what you did there, Dave. Nobody saw that one coming. Adam.
Well, I just don't know Irish Tommy well enough to know how much I can take the piss. That's the problem here.
Oh, you can take the piss. He's fair.
I wanted to go for people like Ian Dowie. And, basically, I wanted to go through a bunch of Northern Irish players that weren't really Irish. But I don't want to get slaughtered. So I'm going to give the obvious answer here, which is Declan Rice. He's so good he became English. So I know there's been a lot of players over the years that are decent, and let's be honest, more that weren't. Or like players like Robbie Keane, who barely counts because he came at the end of his career and was shocking. But it's got to be Declan Rice because he is. I mean, I don't know what Tommy will say about it. I don't know if it's still a sore subject. Probably not, because most people put their club before their country. And, hey, anyone would want someone like Declan Rice on their team. He's going to be a future captain, probably of England. But I definitely had a card with an Irish flag on, so he counts way better than Mark Noble.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Tommy.
Yes, a little bit of stretching of reality going on here, I feel. I'm struggling for names or something, but pick two Englishmen, okay. It's obviously Joey O'Brien. Come on. Marvellous, wonderful, magnificent Joey O'Brien. No, I'm a bit tongue-in-cheek on that one. No, serious answer is clearly Liam Brady. I mean, Liam Brady was just an unbelievable footballer. Played for Juventus. I think maybe came to us from Juventus even. He was one of the best midfielders in the world for a time. Did magnificent things with Arsenal as well over the years. Best known as an Arsenal player, I know, but still was a wonderful player when he came to us. Just brilliant skill. His ability to carry the ball and go past people. Just a wonderful player, a great midfielder, Liam Brady. I think definitely the best Irish player to play for West Ham for me.
Fantastic. Did we sign Gary Breen as well?
I was going to mention that, yeah. But, I mean, he didn't do very well for us, but...
He had an incredible World Cup and then shit the bed as soon as we signed him.
Yeah, because they used to chant, like, number 2 is Gary Breen, number 3, like, every number was Gary Breen. Like, we all live in a team of Gary Breens. Something like that.
Good stuff. I see nobody has mentioned Darren Randolph. Especially not after the recent accusations that are going on.
Yeah, I think we're all staying well clear of him at the moment.
So, Adam, you may want to claim this idea, but Tim will actually back it up that we were hiding this from you to begin with. And it really came from listening to the West Ham Is Why We Drink podcast. But I was going to ask everybody for their best Irish accent as well. Just because I want to hear you sound Indian, basically. But Adam, we'll start with you.
Oh, brilliant. What do you want me to talk about? I'm a good little leprechaun. I like to do an Irish accent. But like I say, if I keep going for too long, it'll definitely be an Indian.
Jesus, that's terrible, isn't it?
Jesus.
Go on,
that's
Dave,
why. That's why.
I never thought I would. I never thought I would hear anyone do a worse Irish accent than Tom Cruise from Far and Away. But Adam's just trumped it, I'm afraid.
Just going to turn that thumb upside down. I mean,
There's still time. Dave, you want to give us a go?
I'll try it, but again, it's from St. Louis, so I'm backwards. Top of the morning to you, boys. How you doing? Let's have a drink at the bar.
I'll give you a little. That's better than Adam's.
That was not better than mine.
Tommy, you're from Tips, so how about you give us one from Northern Ireland?
What about you, wee man? Get in the fucking chair.
That's pretty good, I've got to say, Mike. That's pretty good. Although you should be pretty good at that. Give us an English accent.
Yeah. Well, would you like proper? Would you like proper? Cup of tea, sir? Tea, sir? Tea?
I don't think anybody's going to be asking for more. So I will bring Wally back in with the scores. That's the game. Everybody in the chat room can vote for who they thought won, and whoever gets the most votes will get 2 extra likes. So get voting now. If you're in the chat room, let everybody know who you think won the show, who made the best points, and the winner will get 2 extra likes. Let me bring Wally back in. Wally, can you do an Irish accent, or come on, let's hear it.
You haven't done one yet, John.
Absolutely. I can't.
I don't really. Well, I need to channel my grandparents. All I know how to do is drop H's from words. So instead of saying 3, just say tree. So 333. That's about all I got.
I could do Welsh, but I can't do Irish.
You can do well. Go on, Wally. Give us some Welsh.
What is it? Oh boy, oh Gareth Evans is something. I don't know.
Are you sure you're only drinking water?
Wally's shit hammered and he's not admitting it. Wally, what do you think? Who's the best Irish player to play for West Ham? You can't even get him to stop laughing at this point.
Well. Who is it's got to be Joey O'Brien, whose jersey, by the way, John, is hanging up in YSC Sports.
Is it really?
Yes. Or it was a couple years ago anyway. I'm not sure if it still is, but
well, you nicked it.
Yeah, I've got it hanging up right here. No, it is hanging up in the back where the youth team trains or something.
I'm going to check that out. For those that don't know, that's Philadelphia Union Football Club, Soccer Club, whatever it's called. Their youth academy is just around the corner from me and Wally, and I play Monday night, 6-a-side in there, and everything hurts on Tuesday morning because I'm really old now. But I'll have to check that out and see what's going on down there. Let's get more votes in the chat room. We've got a couple in here. Got one for Adam. Somebody's asking, the Charlie Boy's asking Tommy to do a Brooklyn accent. That would be an interesting one.
Oh yeah, let's hear that.
Hey, I'd do anything for my brother over there. What are you talking about?
That's not too bad. That's not too bad. We got the next Joe Pesci in the room. Got a couple more votes in. Wally.
Okay.
Let me ask you two while I've got you here. It was 2-1. And in fact, I kind of side with Adam on the whole Moyes thing. I'd like to at least give the guy a try. So I think we're 2-2 on Moyes in, Moyes out. Where do you stand on that?
I think we got to keep him because what else are we going to do at this point? And we only have one thing we have to do. That we can focus on one thing this season, and that's just stay up. So Moyes in for now.
If he keeps us up, would you keep him? I mean, I know he's only got like an extra year on that contract after that.
The way I look at that, I think the way I look at that extra year was kind of like a bonus for keeping us up, but just not, in the same way that we paid him last time, which was 6 months plus a stay up bonus.
You see that as a bonus? I see that he wouldn't take 6 months again because he saw what happened last time.
Right. So I think we can get rid of him if he keeps us up, but I don't think we should change anything now.
Gotcha. Right. So double check the chat room, Tommy, and I'll come to you in just a second.
Wayne keeps on making profiles to try and make me to try and vote for me. You can only vote once, Wayne. I'm not a self-promotion whore like you.
Say Ngakia, who what a positive that was, by the way. He had a great game, didn't he? I hope we see more of him. And who else have I got here? Katie's asking me what night I play. Katie, I play Monday nights out in YSC in Wayne. I wouldn't recommend. It's not recommended viewing, to be honest. It's not very good at all. So With that, Wally, how do we look on the scores?
All right. Well, I think at the moment we are Dave with 11, Adam with 13, and Tommy with 15. But I think Adam gets the extra 2 points, so that's a tie. 15.
Don't count all of Wayne's votes though, because I'm otherwise. Oh,
Now it's a tie, 4-4.
Oh, jeez, we got a tie.
Oh, it's controversial. We need a recount. It's like Florida.
Jesus.
All right. So what do? We need a tiebreaker. Dave, thank you for playing. I'm going to put you back in the green room. We'll see you in a few minutes. Let's see. What can we ask for a tiebreaker that's going to be interesting?
Got to be Welsh accent. Who can do the best Welsh accent?
My accents are pretty poor. I think we've already figured that out.
Let's see. So if we stay up this summer, like we heard earlier, Moyes is saying that we shouldn't be relying on Jared Bowen come from Hull to save our season. Who is a reasonable player that we could go and get in the summer that would improve our team if we stay in the Premier League? Let's see. Tommy, you were officially ahead until the vote counts, so let's start with you.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with a kind of real position of need and one that hasn't kind of been addressed in a long time. And I think left back. Until recently, I would have said right back. But Ngakia, I think, is kind of has done enough from what I've seen of him to think maybe that left back maybe now a real position of need for us. I'm kind of struggling, to be honest, with kind of left backs that I think we could get and B that I can even think of at the moment. So I'll maybe have to leave that position alone for now. But as a right back, I still really like Max Aarons. I watched him again today playing for Norwich against Leicester. He looks a really good player, right back. He's a player, because Norwich, I think, even despite tonight's win, I think are doomed. So I'd love to see us go out and get a really top-class right back. That still wouldn't prevent Ngakia from developing. You need more than one player in a position. You need competition. And Zabaleta's retiring. Fredericks isn't very good. So I still think we need somebody out there. I'm going to say Max Aarons, the right back from Norwich. I really like him.
Not a bad shout. Adam?
I agree that a left back has been a position that's been a problem for a while. But I think the bigger question is, it's going to be hard for West Ham to attract good players. So I think the real question is, if we do stay up, who goes down? And then of the teams that have gone down, you look at them to try and pick up a player. I was thinking as well, as far as a left back, and I know where he's come from isn't the best, but maybe we want to sign someone like Danny Rose. I mean, he's got experience. He's a good player. Tottenham obviously don't care much about him because he's at loan at Newcastle, but you'd imagine he'd want to come back to London. And I think that despite the fact he's a Tottenham player, I mean, he's got the experience, and I think he's better than anyone we've got. I don't know. What do you think, Tommy? Would you take Danny Rose?
I'm not a big fan of Danny Rose. I think he's an okay player. I see he's only doing okay at Newcastle. He doesn't excite me in any way, Danny Rose, if I'm honest. Now, I still think he'd probably improve us. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it would be a bad signing per se or anything, but Danny Rose, I think he's kind of flattered to deceive a lot. He seems a bit inconsistent to me. So I'm not a big fan of his, if I'm completely honest, Adam.
Well, I think apart from him, the only other player, like I said, I think it does come down to teams going down, but I wouldn't be adverse to signing like a decent striker, maybe someone like Andre Gray from Watford, someone who, just so we've got backup for Allaire. Because, I mean, who do we have? We signed that guy who has even been on the bench lately. What's his name? The other striker that we got, not done anything. I literally can't remember the guy's name.
Is that Jay?
Yeah, Jay. That's it. Exactly. So, I mean, I think that striker is another position we could do with. And so I would just look at, once again, I think it comes down to who gets relegated. Someone like Andre Gray, I think, from Watford would be great for us, or Wilson at Bournemouth if they go down. But yeah, that's just so I have a different position to left back. I think that's where I'd look.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a need of both left back and right back. That's been an issue for a long time. Striker, yeah, I could certainly see that. You go after maybe Pookie. You could go after Gray, like you were saying. No shouts for Decore, who is a bit of a top.
Oh yeah, Abdoulaye Decore at Watford. I'm a huge fan of his. The reason I didn't go there is because I think Souček has looked really good.
Yeah,
and talking about signings in the summer, I tell you what, I really hope we stay up and we can make that deal permanent, because it will be a bit of a sickener, if we have to send him back because we've been relegated. That would be one of the things that would really rankle with me. He's looked really good.
He's a good player, and he never stops moving at all. So, but that wraps it up. I hid my likes from all you guys, but I gotta say,
we love the suspense.
Yeah. So, Adam,
you
had 2 likes, and Tommy, it's rigged. You had 3 likes, so you advance. It's not actually rigged, guys. They're just. You have 3 likes, and you advance to the next round. So let me boot these other guys off the screen, and you.
Thanks for having us.
You get.
Well done, Adam. Well played, son.
You get your moments of shine and address the audience with whatever you want to say. So please go right ahead. Did we freeze? I think Tommy froze. Either that or he's very, very good.
Okay. You gave me the stage and I froze. Yeah. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Am I here?
Go on. Yeah.
All right. Okay. You gave me the stage and I froze. Bloody typical, isn't it? So, yeah. What I'd like to say is that I know what I spoke earlier about wanting Moyes gone, that not having much faith in him to keep us up. But as long as he's manager, I'll want him to succeed. I'll want him to do well. I'll want him to stick with the positive. Regardless of how I feel about him, I hope he succeeds. Can you hear me?
We can now. Tommy, I'm going to cut you because I think the floods that are happening in Ireland are probably...
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what's...
It's all good. Thank you.
They're probably coming in my front door, yeah.
Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Katie, let me know if you need subs on Wednesday nights. I play down there, co-ed every now and again as well. Guys, good to see you all. Thanks for being back. Good to be back. We had a great show. Really appreciate all these guys. Join us again next week, where we'll have more former winners until we finally whittle it down to one who gets the most thumbs ever. So thank you all. We'll see you next time. Hit subscribe and come on, you Irons.
Thanks, everyone. Come on, you Irons.